Hey everyone, it's Professor Lucien. This is the Module 2 review for Safety 783, and we'll look forward as well. So this week, what's interesting is we get to review some of my favorite papers, foundational to some of the beliefs I have. It altered or augmented the way I view safety quite a bit. I mean, we started with the history type stuff, which goes into a safety program. Now we got into really what is management commitment, what is employee engagement, and overall, how does that lead to what would be considered a quote-unquote safety culture, though I don't like to use that term. Here's the scoring performance. You guys are doing great for the most part. There's a few stragglers, but overall, pretty good job. Here's the averages for the discussion. It's higher than last week. The assignment's higher than last week. The time is higher than last week. The touches are higher than last week. You guys are doing really well. What's interesting is the discussion. So I sorted you manually into groups based on who was posting earlier in the week. So group 1 earlier in the week, group 2 mid to end of week, group 3 and 4, whatever. What's interesting is the performance. It seems that group 2 and 3 are very similar. Group 1 is very different than everybody. Group 4 is very different than everybody. So I got that and that right, but these two are very similar. So I did the same sort of thing. I monitored the discussion boards, all 4 groups, for who was posting earlier in the week or more prolifically, and then I moved them. I sorted it that way. So we'll see what happens next week. So next week we'll do a comparison. It's almost like a mini study. This to previous. We'll see. This to next week. Sorry. I will let you know, though, even though we're seeing some things here, I was very liberal with how I was scoring things. And so just because you get a really high score, don't think, oh, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. I kind of I'm going to use this week as a learning experience. So next week I'll get more accurate. Is that the right? More representative. Fairer. I guess fairer. Here's the thing. Some of you heard last week, it's like, oh, I'd like you to post about 10 times. Some of you are going on once or just twice and just post them all right away. That's not participating in a discussion board. That's just saying, what's my minimum and shooting for it. So I look at that too. So you post 10 times, but you're only on the site once or twice within like a small period of time. I'm not going to score you as if somebody who comes on throughout the week and helps their peers and posts very, intelligent original posts. Just letting you know. Yeah, some of you are just like, if I get the work done, I get the work done. So the question is, are you an active or passive learner? An active learner is like appreciating what they're getting and wanting to share it. The passive is just tell me what I have to do and I'll do it and get by it. But the problem is it's your choice. It's really your choice. It's just I want to reward those that are the active learners. Let's see. So I'd asked you in your pre-survey, what's organizational culture? As assumed, it was all over the board, all over the place. No generally shared or accepted definition. It went everything from expected behaviors and norms to shared beliefs to common attitudes and policies. Several of you typed in organizational culture is the culture of the organization. Well put. I couldn't have put it any better. Others said how things are done. And I found this when I was searching around. What I like about this, and this is by the Academy for Innovation HR, Innovative HR, whatever. I have no stock in this, but or have verified its validity or reliability. But what's interesting is I like the term learning culture. Do you see its opposite of safety culture? I'm going to be using this. I'm going to look more into this AI HR and see where this came from, if there's actually research behind it. But isn't that particularly interesting? I don't like safety culture because of what it can do to actually foster negative feelings towards integrated work, engagement work. Learning has flexibility and enjoyment there. I think it's also caring too, though. I think learning is caring. So there are issues here, but I thought this was kind of cool. Opposite. I want to bring back to a concept here because I know some of you have voiced concerns, and thank you for doing that. I always appreciate your input, your honest input. As long as it's not accusing me of something that I didn't do. That's blame. We don't want to blame people, and we'll talk about that this week. So I'm going to be building this as we go through. So we started with foundations, and that led to the need for management commitment, employee engagement, and organizational culture because of what was lacking in the haphazard creation of the work organization and how safety fits in. Now we're going to go from there to human factors, human error, and the work system. So to me, there are very clear building And this is breakdown. This is kind of breaking things down. Then we're going to start building it back up. But what I want to put on, I'm not a fan of Andy Rooney at all. But this was an interesting post. Everyone wants to live on the top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing it. And so that's what you're doing. You're taking classes to pursue a master's degree. I've got lecture videos and things to read. That should be the enjoyment part. I see in some of the performance data and some of the comments I'm getting and some of the other indications that some of you are just being pacifist to get through this, and eventually you get a master's degree and you'd be like, hey, I got a master's degree. But the thing is, just the granting of it doesn't change you. There is no magical transformation. The transformation occurs now. So I realize you may not have time. It's a sacrifice. It's a commitment to achieve knowledge, critical thinking, looking at things differently. This is the time to do it. This is the chance. This is the enjoyment part. So there really is no, you're not going to get a medal, a trophy, pot of money when you get to the end of this journey. It's what you put into it that gets there. I feel like I'm being way too philosophical, but hey, that's my job, right? So that's what I want you to think about. That if you need to kind of step away from this for a little bit and just kind of think about, how this fits into your life and how, you can't think of it short term though. This is something that is meant to change you, to transform you. That's what grad school is supposed to do. But you have to commit to it. You can't just passively, sit back and just go along with the ride. You either get into it and transform and get out of what you're supposed to, or you may just kind of trail along, get to that point, get your degree. But what have you earned? What have you gained? So I just want you to be thinking about that. The readings for this week are awesome, especially the Cox et al. 2003. I stumbled upon that luckily in one of my psych classes. DeJoy is a great author. He's one of my favorites. He talks about attribution. That's so awesome. Karsh was one of my mentors in grad school, and I think he provides. This is you're gonna have to do. You have to glean some of that into what we do, and then I do a review of my mentor Smith and another mentor, Dr. Pascal. It's Carry On, but it was Sanford back then, and also some of James Reason's work. So this is a great week, to really get down to the fundamentals of things. You guys are broken out into 4 groups again. I will try to be more active this week. And you guys have done a really good job who have been coming to the office hours. I'm sorry I can't dedicate the full office hour just to talking about the class because I invited my 683 class, but a lot of you are in my 683 class, so I'm kind of double dipping. But I'm going to have to lean on you, I think, for the rest of the semester. What are there, 4 weeks left? I'm going to be leaning on my 783 students a little bit more because I am reaching to the point of burnout. 683 is taking so much out of me that I'm behind on sharing jobs with students and people. I'm behind in my the work I need to do as VP for Region 5, behind in my planning and organizing of the youth archery classes that I do in the winter. So I need to take a little time for me to catch my breath. I need to get caught up on the expectations that are thrust upon me that are sort of outside of teaching. But I always try to maintain a really high level quality in my classes. As you know, if you've had me before, or if you haven't, that's what I strive for. So I just need a little bit more of your help here. Little bit, thank you for all of your patience with me and your great comments. But I'm going to have to lean on you a little bit more to kind of self-lead or peer review, peer comment. I'd really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I hope you guys have a great week.